I'm not an animal. I'm a Time Lord. Hello and welcome back to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about Judoon in Chains, written by Simon Barnes and Paul Morris. This is the second story in the classic Doctor New Monster box set, Volume 1, which sees the sixth incarnation of the Doctor, played by Colin Baker, fight against the Judoon, monsters from the new series created by Russell T Davies during the season 3 story Jones and Smith, to which they've had regular appearances in both Doctor Who and Sarah Jane Adventures. So that's really cool, and their idea is basically they're police for hire in space. And they're a bit thick, and they get hired for any particular jobs, but they must, and I repeat, they must do the law to the T. So if they go to like Earth, they have to abide by their rules. It's like their mental capacity cannot even cope with the idea of breaking a law. However, that doesn't mean that they won't kill or threaten anybody if harm goes their way. According to their own laws, if anybody tries to assault them, they can kill the person trying to harm. And I will admit, the Judoon are one of my favourite things that come out of New Who. I just love I mainly just like their design, these rhino people, and I especially like how it's animatronics. It's not CGI. It's a very well created costume in the show. But I also like the idea of them as their plots. I mean, with this idea, it means they can work in very simple plots. You can just have them as basically stormtroopers in a storyline, and it actually works. They actually are a good B-list monster. However, because this is an audio drama format and this is one focusing on them, these writers have decided to do something a little bit different with the Judoon. And does it pay off? Well, we will have to wait and see. Now, as always with these Big Finish CD covers, that one is probably one of my favourite ones in the box set. I make my own DVD cover. This one I actually made up the image because I couldn't find a textless version of this image. Sadly, however, after making this, I have found one, but I don't have access to printers to really fix it. And this isn't really my best work. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but the Judoon is very pixelated. It's a very low resolution image. You can see, if I put them side by side, you can see I was trying to do a similar thing. So, yeah. And that's the spine, if anyone's interested. Really cool. And then that's the back, and I used an image from Jones and Smith of the Judoon there, which surprisingly fits really well. So there you go. So the story starts off with a small little pre-credit scene with the Judoon being hired by the Genesis Corporation, a business that basically takes uninhabited planets and makes them habitable by changing the atmosphere. And you see these two of these characters like talking to each other and they're talking to their the leader of the Judoon. I can't remember his name, Kaibo Joe Galo, whatever his name is. And according to the Genesis Corporation, they found that there is no life, so that they can, thanks to the Judoon, who basically use to make sure that everybody's basically abiding by the law, and also as security, they basically give him the green light to go ahead with this. However, one Judoon on its post, Captain Kaibo, suddenly starts acting very funny as he's obsessed with getting to the lake, and he actually puts his ship on a course to go and see the Galactic Council, or at least the Genesis Corporation. However, the ship he's on gets attacked by other ships, unidentified crafts, and the Judoon is basically struggling to try and save itself. And the Doctor, the Sixth Doctor, arrives in the ship, where he actually helps the Captain Kaibo, and we get some really great scenes which shows the Sixth Doctor helping Kaibo, and the Doctor's like, I know I'm breaking all your laws, however, it is a matter of urgency. And then Captain Kaibo thanks the Doctor. The Doctor's like, that's not a Judoon. A polite Judoon? That's very strange. So Captain Kaibo is starting acting really strange. He's a very polite and a gentle soul compared to the rest of the Judoon. And his ship starts crashing, and so and the Doctor's plan is to take Kaibo onto the TARDIS, but Kaibo's hesitant that he gets to the control panel to an escape pod, and so the Doctor gets him into the helps him into the escape pod, to which it fires off, and the Doctor tracks him on his TARDIS to try and find out where Kaibo's going, to which he discovers he's landed in Edwardian or Victorian England. And that's basically the setup for the story. And it's a really enticing cold starter, a scene that takes place before the opening crawl. And it really helps you get engaged in this adventure. You're like, what's going on? Why did Kaibo defect? Why is he suddenly, why is he a really nice and polite Judoon? I really like the idea of a nice, polite Judoon. Can we see more of him, please? Is he going to be a main character? And to all of you who are thinking that, like me, you'll be glad to know that Kaibo basically is the companion in this story. Yeah, I said that. And so, because of Kaibo's defectness, and the Judoon have basically got to search for him, they basically put the Genesis Corporation's plans on making this planet habitable on hold. They need to find out what Kaibo's done beforehand. And so the Doctor lands in Edwardian or Victorian England weeks after he miscalculated the course, and he arrived on a week later, where Kaibo, who after a crash had his translator broken, so he can't speak any English, was caught up in the affairs of a freak show, and he's now being treated as a circus freak. And basically that's what the story revolves around: the Doctor trying to help Kaibo in this freak show. This is like the main setting, and a lot of you might consider this a homage to David Lynch's The Elephant Man, and you're absolutely right. This story has taken a heavy influence out of The Elephant Man. However, it is a very, very good tribute to The Elephant Man. The Doctor tries to first organise the release of Kaibo, but after seeing his clothes, the head of this freak show basically puts the Doctor in a cell and forces him to work alongside Kaibo as one of the freaks, as the Doctor proclaims that he's like some sort of comedian. And it's here where he befriends a girl, I can't remember her name, Lisa Jenkins. I'm just going to call her Jenkins. And she basically looks after everybody in the in their cages. She feeds everybody and she looks after people in the freak show. And the Doctor and her become like have a sort of friendship with each other, as they both they both like Captain Kaibo and want to see him freed. However, the soul of this story comes from the treatment of Kaibo and what Kaibo does. As everybody, including the Doctor, acts like the Judoon are just stupid races that, with the brains the size of a human fist, and they're not really intelligent, and they're just dumb, stupid monsters, and they can't really think for themselves. However, Captain Kaibo starts learning English without his translator. And the Doctor and Jenkins are looking at him and are like, hold on, what? I mean, Jenkins originally thought that he was a monster, a creature at first, until he spoke English. And so, to basically find out, at least not to be like, hold on, how is he learning English? He's learning he's learning more than most Judoon. And so what the Doctor does is he gets him a lot of books. He gives him Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, Moby Dick, and Kaibo learns to read all these, and he finds them absolutely fascinating. And he actually becomes a huge fan of poetry. A Judoon who loves poetry. And he quotes it as well. And to hear Nicholas Briggs, who returns to voice the Judoon, as he did in the TV series, gives Kaibo such a nice rhythm to Kaibo's voice. He sounds like a Judoon. He's clearly a Judoon, but he's much more soft-spoken compared to other Judoons, and he rebels in this fact. And so the Doctor's basically telling Jenkins that he's part of the Judoon and that the Judoon don't like deserters, and if they find Kaibo, they would probably execute him. So they gotta keep him out of regular Judoon hands. And the Doctor's trying to work out as well what's happening with Kaibo. I just remembered I completely forgot about one of the stuff that happens right at the very early on in the story. Basically, this entire story is told in a flashback, as the main setting of the story in terms of where we are is actually a courtroom drama in which Kaibo is being sentenced to stand on trial. However, when he's on trial, he's in a Edwardian Victorian court, and this court gets teleported, like the hospital in Joan and Smith, onto Mars, to which the Judoon Brigade come in and basically take over the proceedings and the courtroom drama. And the Doctor basically tells them they got to follow procedure. And then the Doctor and Kaibo tell this story, which I think really works a lot more better than Trial of the Time Lord, where the story and the trial feel really separated. Here it feels like one continuous story. The trial is actually a forebearer to the story. And unlike Trial of the Time Lord, the trial in Judoon and Chain only really takes effect right at the start and right at the end. There's no scenes throughout the story where they have to interrupt the plot to go back into the courtroom. When Kaibo starts talking about his backstory, the story continues until we're caught up. Okay, so I've sorted that out. So anyway, back to the main plot at hand. The Doctor, like I said, is trying to work out what's going on, and the Judoon actually come down onto Earth, and they go to the freak show to try and look for Captain Kaibo. And the Doctor tries to organise that he is the leader of the freak show and that he will escort them to the right procedures of Earth. But however, the actual leader of the freak show gets involved, insulted by the fact that the Doctor pretended to be the owner. And so he tries to talk with the Judoon. However, because he doesn't get really anywhere with them, he actually insults them and hits one of them, to which the Judoons execute him for. And the Doctor comes up with a plan where basically they're at like a freak show festival, a circus, and the Doctor basically comes up with this with a lie that they got to follow these procedures and they got to line up and go through all of these like lines and all of these circus and attractions and stuff, which is just a really funny idea, seeing a bunch of Judoons line up for a ride. And the Doctor is trying to plan something out. However, the Doctor's been communicating with his stopwatch, which he's been doing out throughout the majority of the story. We don't know yet what it is, but he realizes that something is going to happen in the Hall of Mirrors, a circus with like loads of mirrors. And so he tells the Judoon that to go through proper procedures, they have to go into the mirrors, the Hall of Mirrors. And when they go in there, they come out screaming and retreat back into their ships, halting the Judoon's plans for a bit. But the Doctor basically proclaims that that this won't be the end. They'll come back, and this time what they will do is that they'll steal the building that Kaibo is in and put it on a different planet where they can execute Judoon law. So the Doctor comes up with this plan to basically put Kaibo on a English-British trial, and that when the courtroom gets transported, then somehow the laws go with that. And so we get caught up with the courtroom drama. And I really like the circus storyline, and it's brilliant. I really like Kaibo. He's one of the most interesting characters that I've seen in this in audio drama range. He's part of the Judoon, and we know what a Judoon is. They're stupid rhino people, but he proves that that's wrong, that they can learn, they can adapt. He reads poetry, he's intelligent, he's incredibly impolite. When he's talking to Jenkins, he's constantly like, thank you, how are you feeling? And he's always concerned about everybody. And Kaibo is just a lovable character. He is the opposite of the Sixth Doctor when he started out. You might even say that Kaibo kind of makes the Sixth Doctor a better person as he learns not to judge characters by their appearances, as Kaibo basically proves the Doctor's wrong on multiple accounts. And even though there is a twist to why Kaibo is as intelligent as he is, I don't think it takes away from it mainly because of how it's described, but also as well they don't revert back to oh yeah, it's because of this thing and now that thing's gone. He's back to a normal Judoon. You could go back to Judoon society now, so have fun with that. And so the Doctor basically talks to the leaders of the Judoon and the captain of the Judoon, and realizes that there's something isn't right in the story. Something doesn't make sense, and we learn that the reason why Kaibo is intelligent is because there was a sentient life that doesn't have a physical form, and it was living on the planet that Genesis was go into rehabitat to change its atmosphere to fit other living creatures. And it was worried that it will destroy them, so it possessed, it unlocked one of the Judoon's minds, Captain Kaibo, to make him a much more concerned and thoughtful creature. And so Judoon, then Captain Kaibo, tries to alert the authorities and gets attacked. And that's why he defected, because he had this sentient creature opening his mind to this worry. And so the Judoon are like, okay, right, we can't let this planet be habitated anymore because we now know there's intelligent life. But the Doctor points out something. Who was attacking Kaibo's ship? It wasn't an army ship. Like the Judoon have a catalogue of all warships, and this ship was unknown to them. And the Doctor points out that might be because it's not a warship. It was a habitated ship that was augmented to attack the ship. And so the Judoon are like, right, they gotta pay because they tried to kill a Judoon soldier. The Doctor points out that there's something else. Why did they attack him? Because they know that there was life on this planet, and that Kaibo was a threat to their plans. So basically, they're going to ask put the leader of the Genesis Corporation onto trial. And the Judoon originally are like, by the time we get there, it'll be too late. They're thousands upon thousands of light years away. But the Doctor comes up with a nice little trick. You see, he's been communicating with these creatures, to which they appear in reflections in the minds of others when they see themselves in reflection. That's why Kaibo was talking about the lake, because he's had, I believe it was like a dream or a mental image where he saw himself in a lake. And the Doctor's been seeing these creatures focusing himself in the reflection of his clock. And so he's been communicating with them, and he basically hacked the H2O scoop, which teleports the buildings which the Judoon use. And instead of taking it onto Mars, which the Judoon believed it was, they actually transported to the Genesis Corporation's home world, and they get the ruler of it on trial. And he basically explains that what Genesis Corporation does, and he doesn't really take this seriously. He looks at the round and he sees these Edwardian Victorian court, and is like, this looks like a fancy dress, like a historical recreation than an actual drama. And he doesn't really take them much of a threat. He looks around and is just like, there's nothing here that concerns me. I can say what I want and get away with it. And the Doctor basically gets him to confess that he knew that there was life on there. And basically, he doesn't believe he's God, obviously. He doesn't think he's God. But he basically tries to play it, because he says that basically, according to the laws, there's not allowed to be any form of life on planets that they rehabilitated for life. But he's been destroying planets that have had life, but just ones that he wouldn't consider important, like single-cell organisms, bugs, insects, that kind of thing. Like, he doesn't consider like intelligent life to be ones worth saving. Or even like plants, like black orchids, I think he says at one point. And he basically is like, this is absurd. I've got like communication to my ships to destroy this building after I leave, and so what if I confess that I've on purposely killed a bunch of people, a bunch of smaller little life forms. It doesn't matter. However, the Doctor points out because the Judoon are police officers and they basically work to the law to the T, this courtroom was bugged, and that all the conversations have been sent out to the galactic corporations, to everyone in the universe. Everybody heard in this, to which his shareholders, his bosses, his leaders, people who fund Genesis Corporation, basically turn their backs on him, and the Judoon arrest him. And then when they're trying to talk to Kaibo to resent him, to allow him back into society, they actually send to try and kill him because his way of life is actually a threat to their society. If Kaibo's life and ideas goes out into the universe, the Judoon will no longer be this police race. To the Doctor's like, is that really a bad thing? Come on, please, don't let your prejudices define who you are. So what if he's a little bit creative and doesn't want to be roaming around as a police officer anymore? Let him be who he wants to be. And the Judoon, worried that they can get infected as well, as the Doctor proclaims that to save Kaibo, this creature is now going to open the minds of every other Judoon. And they start setting up suicide bombs so that they can destroy themselves and save their race. However, just before the explosion, the Judoons all start crying as they see life as this very beautiful, amazing thing. And Kaibo and the rest of the small Judoon at work in this courtroom basically defect and decide to live on the planet below, the planet which was Genesis was going to rehabilitate. And if the citizens there don't want them, they can always just live on one of the moons. The story ends with the Sixth Doctor using the phrase Judoon platoon upon the moon, or something very similar to that, which is a reference to Judoon Smith, in which the 10th Doctor said Judoon platoon upon the moon. And that's Judoon in Chains. Overall, it is a fantastic piece of audio drama. It might even be one of my favourite. It's easily one of my favourite Sixth Doctor adventures, and it's easily one of my favourite audio dramas. It's short. It's only 16 minutes, the length of an average New Who Doctor Who episode. So basically, it's one episode long, and it got a great way of telling its story and making you really sympathise with Kaibo. And Kaibo's really the main heart of this story, as he proves everybody wrong, and his sophistication and his morality and his kindness basically warms everybody around him, like the Doctor and Jenkins. And even though there is a twist that it was because of this creature, it doesn't hurt the story at all. The courtroom drama scenes are actually not only well paced in the story, but they're actually mixed with the story very well. And also the courtroom drama scenes, where it actually focuses on the courtroom drama segments, are actually well written courtroom drama segments, and feel a lot like the 4th of July and something like that. It's basically the Elephant Man meets the 4th of July, if you want to put it like that. I just go listen to it. This would be part of the Classic Doctors new Monsters box set, and I've already praised the first story, which was fantastic. I think, yeah, this is my favourite story of the box set, easily. Although I haven't listened to the 7th Doctor one yet, so who knows, that could all change. But with these two classic stories, I automatically say, just go buy this one. This is a great place for newcomers. This story actually was well versed into helping newcomers into the audio drama format. It's easy to follow, it's easy to listen to, and it's just well made. Go listen to it. You've got no excuse apart from the fact that these box sets are extremely expensive. And that's Judoon in Chains. So join me next time where the Doctor will meet a new companion and uncovers a conspiracy in a block of flats in 2008. So join me next time for The Condemned, and we say hello to Charlie Pollard. And I'll see you next time on the Doctor Who Marathon. Ta-da!